Hi everyone, today I will be talking a bit about Highland dance. Although I used to dance and compete in this genre, I know from experience that most people are not familiar with it. I do have quite a lot of knowledge already, but I did do some extra research to confirm what I knew, as well as to add some new information to the mix. Today I will specifically be talking about two dances, the Highland Fling and the Earl of Errol. Although the Highland Fling and the Earl of Errol are both Highland dances, they differ in many ways, including how they use the arms, how they use the space, as well as the movement itself. Before I show you videos of these two dances, I would like to give you some brief history. There is a lot of conflicting information about when these dances came into being. For example, Highland Rebel claims that Highland dancing began in the 11th century, whereas the Scottish St. Andrew's Society of Greater St. Louis claims that individuals were doing strange dances with swords and spears all the way back in 77 AD. According to Highland Rebel, Highland dancing is the traditional solo dancing of Scotland. According to the Scottish St. Andrew's Society of Greater St. Louis, the Highland Fling is the first traditional dance that was created, and all traditional dances started out as male dances. There are various stories on how the fling originated that I will be talking more about later, but according to the same source, one of the stories says that the Highland Fling was done by soldiers after they won a battle. Highland Rebel also discusses the idea that the old kings and chiefs of Scotland used Highland dancing as a way of choosing men for their retinue and men-at-arms, and that Scottish regiments used Highland dancing as an exercise to keep the troops in shape and ready for battle. Highland Rebel is probably referring to the traditional dances, as national dances have a different story. According to Highland Rebel, the Earl of Errol is a national dance, and most of the national dances were choreographed in the 19th century for females. This source also says later that this dance was specifically created for the Earl of Errol, which an individual named Wickawillow disagrees with, as they believe that the Earl was created for his wife. I will be discussing more about traditional dances and national dances later on in the screencast, so do not worry if you are confused by the distinction. In addition, Highland Rebel says that now about 95% of the individuals who do Highland dance are women. I will now show you the two videos. The first one will be the Highland Fling. Next, I will be showing you the Earl of Errol. Now, one of the major differences that we see between these two dances is the arm movements. In the Highland Fling, the dancer alternates between several different arm positions, while in the Earl of Errol, the dancer is holding her skirt the entire time. In the fling, the dancer either has both of her arms on her waist, one arm up and the other on her waist, or both arms up. According to Debbie Tortorolo, she always thought of them as oppositional arms. We definitely see this in the video, as the dancer often uses her right arm when the left leg is moving, and her left arm when the right leg is moving. The hands are always in fists, except when the dancer holds her arms above her head. I'm not sure how clear it is from the video, but this is what the fingers look like. As you can see, the tip of the middle finger is touching the tip of the thumb, and the other fingers are pointed slightly upwards. Now, in order to fully understand why the arms are different, we must take a look into the type of dance as well as the history behind the dance. According to the Scottish St. Andrew's Society of Greater St. Louis, there are two types of Highland dance, traditional dances and national dances. The source continues by saying that the traditional dances are performed in kilts, whereas the national dances, when done by female dancers, are generally done in the aboyne dress. There are a few national dances where female dancers wear the kilt, but many of the national dances are done in the aboyne dress. According to Christy Morgan, the kilt is essentially a skirt made of woolen cloth with a tartan pattern and is knee length with pleats in the back. Here we have a picture of the kilt on our right. Christy Morgan also says that the aboyne dress is composed of a tartan skirt, a white blouse, and a velvet waistcoat with a pinned-on sash. Here we have an aboyne dress on our right. According to Thistledown Nicely Designs, the skirt is designed so that it is long enough for the dancers to hold while they dance. In the introduction, we discussed that the Earl is a national dance, explaining why the dancer is holding her skirt the entire time. We also discussed in the introduction that the fling is a traditional dance and thus the dancers must wear a kilt. Since these traditional dances started out as male dances, it makes sense that there is no holding of the skirt. The second reason why the arms in the fling are unique to this genre of dance has to do with the history behind the Highland Fling. According to Charlie Mill, one of the stories behind the fling has to do with a young boy imitating a stag. He tried to imitate the stag with his arms and fingers held aloft and curved like the antlers and holding his head proud as he hopped up and down on the spot as the stag had done on the rock. For reference, here's a photo of a stag and here's a photo of the arms. We certainly see that the arms indeed resemble the antlers of a stag. Although the arms are certainly different between the two dances, the use of space is also quite different as well. And here ends part 1.